Child protection compacts are multi-year partnerships, and they have a specific focus on combating child trafficking.
Hi, and welcome to GAO's Watchdog Report, your source for news and information from the U.S. Government Accountability Office. I'm your host, Holly Hobbs. About 1/3 of human trafficking victims around the world are children. To combat child trafficking, the U.S. partners with other countries through child protection compacts. In a new report, we looked at what is known about how well these partnerships work. We'll find out more from GAO's Chelsa Kenney, who led our work and is an expert on international efforts to combat human trafficking. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So Chelsa, this is a terrible topic, but it's one that the U.S. and other countries are serious about. Maybe we can start with, what is a child protection compact? And what does it allow the U.S. and its international partners to do that they couldn't otherwise do?
So, child protection compacts are multi-year partnerships. They're between the State Department and selected foreign governments, and they have a specific focus on combating child trafficking. The compacts are unique in that they are jointly developed between the U.S. and the other country. And part of that agreement includes a commitment of resources or support from both countries.
And what kinds of assistance is provided through these compacts?
So these partnerships include a series of specific projects designed to prevent trafficking, prosecute traffickers, and provide care for victims. And these are funded by the United States and are implemented in the country by non-governmental organizations. So these projects are things like training law enforcement on prosecuting cases, or increasing community awareness about child trafficking and how to recognize it. But the partnerships have a second part, in that they also aim to improve the capacity of the partner country to address child trafficking in the long term. So the partner country also commits some resources, like devoting staff to focus on the issue, or providing office space, or in a couple of places, providing additional funding.
Could you give us an example of an active compact?
There have been 7 partnerships, 5 of which are still ongoing, like in Jamaica, 2 of which have been completed, notably in the Philippines. The partnership with Jamaica began in 2018, and there we visited child-friendly spaces created in Jamaican police stations. So these are areas with things like smaller, softer furniture and kid-friendly art on the walls. They are places where the police can interview victims and gather information to prosecute traffickers, while trying to minimize any additional trauma to these young victims.
So for our report, we also interviewed some stakeholders about the importance of child protection compacts. Who all did we talk to, and what did they tell us?
We heard from partner countries that the child protection compacts were helpful in building a consensus and really affirming a commitment in their country to fighting child trafficking. Addressing this issue requires input and services from several different parts of a government. And so in some cases, we found that the compacts had led to cross-government working groups or task forces, but they had generally created a more collaborative, more comprehensive approach to addressing these issues.
So given that, how effective are these partnerships? Do we know if they've reduced child trafficking or prevented it?
So we found some examples of successes, but also some opportunities for improvement. The final evaluation of the partnership with the Philippines found that the number of investigations and prosecutions of online sexual exploitation of children increased over the CPC period. However, that same evaluation found that there was no increase in community awareness that online exploitation of children was actually a crime. And this lack of understanding is really a barrier to preventing trafficking from happening in the first place.
So Chelsa just told us that child protection compacts can provide important resources and training to international partners, helping to combat child trafficking. But there are opportunities to improve the impacts these partnerships can have. So Chelsa, what do we think needs to happen to improve efforts under child protection compacts?
Overall, we made 6 recommendations to the State Department on how they could improve their oversight of the child protection compacts. But let me just mention 2 key areas. First, we found that while the Child Protection Compact indicates what resources both the U.S. and the partner country would provide, we found that the partner country wasn't always meeting their commitments. And the State Department wasn't consistently following up to encourage this or to understand why this wasn't being done. Second, we found that partner countries weren't always developing sustainability plans to ensure that progress made during the partnership would be continued. And again, State Department could be doing more to encourage and engage with the partner countries to ensure that they were doing this planning. Improvements in these 2 areas could really improve the child protection compacts, ensuring that they're being more effective and helping to end the exploitation of children.
Chelsa, last question. What's the bottom line of this report?
The Child Protection Compact model is really a unique tool that we have to combat child trafficking across the world. However, the State Department really needs to increase their monitoring and oversight of these partnerships if we want to ensure that they're actually meeting their goals.
That was Chelsa Kenney talking about GAO's recent review of international child protection compacts. Thanks for your time, Chelsa.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to the Watchdog Report. To hear more podcasts, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And make sure to leave a rating and review to let others know about the work we're doing. For more from the Congressional Watchdog, the U.S. Government Accountability Office, visit us at gao.gov.